owner. You can't own an animal, according to some. Interesting. Which I guess is part and parcel for the vegan movement of being against eating meat, because since hey, farmers don't own those cows. They don't own those bison or those chickens or whatever else that they are raising. No. They're just the caretakers for them, and they don't have a right to slaughter them and then send it halfway across the country in order to a grocery store near you so you can pick it up and put it in your fryer or deep fryer or frying pan or oven or what have you and eat it. According to PETA, and not people eating tasty animals, but the other PETA, you don't have a right to eat meat. Yeah, just saying. Now, with that said, just think about it for a second. We in this country think that eating dog and cat is a horrific idea, or eating horse. But in other countries, it's not only okay; it's considered to be a delicacy. I know, I understand the myth behind Chinese food. Well, is it chicken or is it cat? Well, if it tastes like chicken, I guess it's okay. Then again, everything tastes like chicken. But anyway, keep your cat indoors the next couple of nights in order to keep it safe and alive. Really, I'm not joking on that one at all. That is a warning that goes out every year at this time for caretakers and owners of black cats. And by the way, if you're sending your little devilish one out there to to trick or treat, there are people who think that's extortion. Hey, you go knock on some stranger's door and you demand a treat or you give them a trick. Now, tricks in the old days were not nice. They were not the Harry Houdini or the magic trick guy. They were nasty tricks, and sometimes you'll find that kids do that today. They'll take toilet paper and throw it in your trees and stuff. And toilet paper is nasty to try to get out. It stays. It doesn't break down in an open environment like that very quickly. And if it gets wet, oh, forget it. It's just terrible. Or you end up getting your house egged. Remember, Justin Bieber did that to his neighbor when he lived in L.A. Right? Didn't he egg his neighbor's house? Didn't he get in trouble for that? I don't. Well, egging somebody's house, that's also something that's very awful because it begins to stink very quickly, and it's difficult to wash off a house. Yeah. So, and if you have hooligans for kids, keep them indoors. Let all the other kids have their fun. Because Lord knows that fun has been severely limited in most communities across this country. And some communities don't even allow regular trick-or-treating. You got to go to, they call it trunk or treat. You have to go to parking lots. And people who want to hand out candy have their car there and their trunks are open, and the kids go from car to car, or trunk to trunk, as it were, in order to get their goodies. Now, I don't know what that says about our society that we would do something like that, but set up a community time where people actually drive to what does that say about people who actually drive to a parking lot with bags of candy just so they can give it to little children or big kids? And what does it say to parents who actually take their kids to these parking lots and say, okay, little Johnny, now you go up this side of the row and then you turn around and you come back the other side of the row, okay? How is that? That's taking all the fun out of it. It really, I mean, look, when you start letting evil dictate how you live, you've given up your freedom. They love that. It's kind of like the TSA. I mean, a couple of days ago, there was a story about TSA making some poor grandma take off her shirt and gray-haired white grandmother take off her shirt and bra TSA is still pulling this kind of crap. And here we are, other nations literally laugh at us until they have to come to the USA and go through the same process, but they think it's hilarious that we have to go through this type of process to take off your coats, take off your shoes, take all your liquids out of your travel bag, put your laptop. The last time I was flying, and the rules are not equally applied everywhere. Now, I've been flying a lot lately, and I got to tell you, the rules are not equally applied. I've gone through airports where I didn't have to take my laptop out of my travel bag at all. And I've gone through airports where I had to take it out, but I had to take all my electronics out and put it in the bin. And there was one airport where the only thing that could be in the bin with the laptop was nothing, just the laptop. Only put the laptop in one bin. If you have other electronics, it must go in a separate bin. Are you kidding me? None of this makes any sense, and none of it is stopping anybody else from doing evil if they want to do it. Take off your shoes. So now you got to walk through barefoot. Then you got to stand in those naked X-ray machines, and they don't let you turn around and look at it. I've tried, and they say, "Keep looking at me, sir." I'm like, well, I just wanted to see what you guys are looking at. I've heard so many horror stories. I just want to see what you guys are looking at. So you can't do that, sir. I can't look at my own X-ray. Interesting. So none of this makes any sense. In other countries, we're the laughing stock of the planet for this. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's not stopping terror. Terrorists aren't dumb. Like, they got to take off their shoes and their belts and their coats and their bras. Oh, my God. And yet still, we have all these wonderful tests on the TSA, and guns are getting through and knives are getting through. I mean, really? How is that? How is that possible if they're going through every and there are poor people that not financially poor, but poor people who have metal in their bodies because of they broke a leg or an arm, or maybe they have a metal plate in their head, and they have to go through this ridiculous pat down process every single time. And I was in the Boston Logan Airport recently, taking a trip to give a keynote, and the TSA agent, is there anybody who's got a certain kind of card? And this rather tall guy, over 6'2", he says, I do. He says, come over here, sir. You got to be pat down. Like, so the guy, and he's asking, well, where is it? He goes, in my leg, shin area. So the guy broke his leg, and now every time they make it very clear, you will be pat down everywhere. So I didn't stand around to watch because everybody's trying to move fast through this machine because everybody's afraid they're going to miss the plane for some reason. I don't know. I mean, if you get there early enough, you got way more time than you need to catch a plane. But everybody's just trying to rush through, and you don't get a chance to even look around. So I don't know if they actually fondled the guy or not, but he didn't look too happy, and he's something that he obviously has to go through quite often because of a metal rod in his leg because he was unfortunate in breaking his leg at one point. And yet we had and look, if you've got these scanners that can X-ray you down to nothing to your birthday suit, why is this guy going to have to go through a pat down? I mean, if somebody walks through those machines and it gets set off, maybe they forgot to take off their belt. They got to go through a pat. Why can't it? Doesn't see everything? I don't quite understand the whole situation there. They're going through, and these detectors, these X-ray detectors in this system supposedly detects more than just metal. So it's supposedly able to detect certain explosive types of vapors on you too. So you're going through and they're looking at you, totally nude almost, I guess, and you set off the alarm, and they still need to pat you down. I mean, they can't see. So in other words, those machines really aren't working all that well, are they? And yet we Americans, we have settled into just accepting this assault on our personal liberty and our personal freedom and think that, it's just what we have to go through. Because this is what our government does. Our government is more than willing to take the heat at first. You remember when this thing first blew up? Don't touch my junk. And Americans were so incensed, and nothing happened or changed. Notice that? Nothing changed. And then we just sort of get used to it. I mean, little kids were being groped. I mean, 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 80-year-old nuns were being groped and mistreated. And we were all incensed about this and demanded change. And our government basically told us, well, yeah, it's just what we're going to have to go through. If we want to keep our liberty, we have to give it up. I want somebody to explain to me how that is still liberty. Because to me, and I hate that phrase, to me, but in my humble opinion, the terrorists are winning. Because we are changing and rearranging our society in such a way where we no longer have the freedom that we once had. So what's the use of protecting it? It's almost like, we need to change the First Amendment. Well, that's not American. That's not America. That's not freedom. When you start regulating stuff like that. But we gotta protect the public, Rod. We gotta protect our way of life. Well, you're not protecting our way of life. You're taking it from us. And trust me, those who are in power fully understand that. They're not idiots. Trust me, they understand what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, which is why they're willing to take the heat for a month or 2 or 3, or even half a year, because eventually the lamestream media will back them, and the stories will blow over, and the stories will stop coming, or they'll just be far and few between, and they'll be less and less seen by the majority of the public. And then we'll just settle into it and accept it as if, well, yeah, that's just the way it is now. It's the way it's always been. And no, that's not the way it's always been. And it was never like that. And now it is. People wonder. I mean, it's even to the point now where, hey, can't go trick or treat. I mean, there's communities that don't even have trick or treating on Halloween. And you can only trick or treat between the hours of 5 and 7 or something. Really? And some communities even institute curfews on Halloween. I mean, early curfew. If you're under the age of 18, really? So in order for us to enjoy our liberty and our freedom, we have to let the government take it away and then dictate how we live. I don't understand how that's freedom at all. But yet, we get mad when government doesn't do what we want them to do in other areas. Why? When we let them get away with everything else. You let them get away with everything else. Why do you think they're going to listen to you and pay attention to you on one particular subject that you're most interested in? They're not.